Okay. Yeah, welcome to GSoC office hours. This is the first Q&A session for students, and we will. Sorry, you're me. Yeah, so we will have um, just a quick question and answers session with all students, and then yeah, probably somebody will start to dropping off because yeah, we hit the limit. Currently, our tool we use Hangouts on air, and we are limited to 10 participants. Yeah, I think we will be moving to another tool soon. If somebody, yeah.
Oleg, so should I drop out of the meeting if you want? I guess students
well,
are.
If you're familiar, yeah, you're already familiar how GSoC works.
Okay.
So if you just stay on around and yeah, let the students join, it will be much appreciated.
Okay, so I'm dropping out and I will follow on YouTube. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Okay. So just to quickly introduce myself and the program. Jenkins GSoC is driven by a team of Jenkins org admins. Now we have 4 admins. It's me, my name is Oleg Minashev. We also have Martin Danju, Jeff Pierce, and Lloyd Chen. So they will be participating in other meetings. We will be coordinating with each other, with the plan that we will have at least one org admin at every student Q&A session. And the purpose of these sessions is to actually answer any questions you may have about GSoC organization in Jenkins project, about timelines, about submissions, about nice to haves, etc. So this is the main goal. We do not plan to specifically discuss project details unless there are mentors on the call, but we will help to coordinate it. So for example, if you have a question and you're unable to reach out to mentors, we can use this call in order to agree how to proceed, and our admins will be able to help. So that's the plan. Any questions so far?
Hi, Oleg.
Yeah. Hi.
This is Parichay. I'm from India. Yeah. So actually, like I was trying out the tutorials. I was checking out multi-brand support, and like I found a couple of bugs. Like not exactly bugs, like some sort of some UI.
There is an echo. Oh.
Hello. Yeah. So should I pull up an issue on the GitHub page?
Yeah, it would be highly recommended. Just a second, I'll share my screen. So since you work in the Jenkins project, you're considered as a contributor. It means that you are welcome to follow all the Jenkins community processes. And of course, if you hit any issues, there is a wiki page describing how to report the issue. Oh, okay, Jenkins. Do you see my screen right now?
Sorry?
My screen now?
I can't hear you.
Yeah. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. So I pasted the link to the chat. So there is a wiki page which describes how to report the issue. So if you see any issue, you're welcome to report it in Jenkins Jira. And that's why we recommended every student to create accounts as a part of the preparation.
Okay.
And yeah, if you hit security issue due to whatever reason, there is another process. But yeah, in such case, you can use Jenkins IO security, and there is a page for reporting vulnerabilities. So if you hit a security issue, follow this process. If no, follow this process, which is just create an issue and describe how to reproduce it in general. So there is no strict requirements, and you can just do whatever is needed.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So yeah, you're more than welcome to ask any questions about the GSoC, about the program. And once there is no specific questions about that, we can proceed with project-related questions. Did everybody have a chance to go through student guidelines? Is everything clear, or do you have any questions you would like to get answers to? Mm-hmm.
So, Oleg, can I ask a few questions?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Berkay, and so during the project selection, should we commit or solve some issues to be chosen to solve that project?
There is no strict requirement to do commits to Jenkins as a part of your project application. It's very welcome because it helps you to study the area. And yeah, of course, when we will be selecting projects, we will be also taking a look at all contribution experience as a part of the application period. But it's not a strict requirement. Your main objective is to create a good project proposal. I mean, explore the area, define what needs to be done, estimate times, think a bit about design, how it would be integrated in the Jenkins ecosystem. This is the main objective. If you can do it without doing any commits, and if you can create a good project proposal after that, it will be perfectly fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, so there are projects and there are some mentors with that project. Should we ask them privately or should we ask them in the Gitter chat?
The recommendation is to use public channels where possible. So each project idea has a reference to the Gitter channel. There are different Gitter channels for project ideas, and there are also mailing lists. The advice is to follow public channels as long as it's possible. Of course, if you have a private question to the mentor, yeah, you can reach out privately. But yeah, general recommendation is to use public channel for any project-related question. So private channels is something like, for example, if you have a concern, for example, about your availability in particular period and you want to get a mentor's advice, or if you have some issues, for example, with other mentors, it happens sometimes, then yeah, you're welcome to use private channels, for example, with org admins. But all project discussions, technical discussions, it's better to do it in public channels.
Okay.
Yeah. So for Jenkins project, GSoC is firstly an open source activity. So it means that all kinds of communications is also a part of open source contribution for you. Okay. Yeah, there are some concerns from students about competition part. So yeah, some students usually are concerned about the fact that they do a proposal in public, and then somebody takes their proposal in his own project proposal. Yeah, it happens sometimes, but yeah, be sure that that's why we try to follow public communications, because yeah, we have a track of these communications, and we will be reviewing proposals carefully, and yeah, hopefully we will discover all these cases. So yeah, we will keep track of contributions and technical discussions, reported issues, whatever, also contributions to the project. So they make a difference for you first.
Okay.
And if you collaborate with other students, for example, we have one case in Enroll Strategy plugin where we already have multiple students who are interested in the project. It's perfectly fine for students to collaborate with each other. So, for example, if you see that there are two or 3 or 4 students working on the same project, you're more than welcome to collaborate with each other and see how you could split the area so that your project proposals do not intersect, and in such case, all projects can be accepted at once. It's not possible for all projects, but if such help needed, mentors can help with it.
Okay. And so I didn't quite understand the part of what happens if if number of students apply to same project. How is going to choose them? Like, does Google choose them, or does someone in Jenkins choose them?
Yeah, I can briefly describe the process, because it's not written in detail in GSoC timeline. There are other documents like mentor guidelines which describe that in detail.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Well,
yeah, projects GSoC. So you can find details about process here. So we have informations for mentors page, and here there is GSoC mentor guide, which actually documents all these questions, including yeah. Just a second. I'm look. Yeah. So student selection process is described somewhere here.
just the mentor guide, not in the student guide.
Yeah, in the mentor guide, because
okay. I just read the student guide and have a look at the mentor guide. Okay.
You're right. So I can briefly explain how the process happens. So we have GSoC timeline. I hope this is a correct. Yeah, this is a correct link. So you may see that there is. So for you, the application finishes on April 9th. So by this time, you're expected to submit a final application through the GSoC website. And by this time, you're expected to submit eligibility documentation. So this is time when student application finishes. But you may see that there is almost 1 month gap between this thing and accepted project proposals. So yeah, this is a magic part when the selection happens. And how it happens, actually, GSoC organizations select students on their own. And actually, they do not select students, they select projects. So you can submit, for example, 2 projects to the same organization if you really want to do so. How the selection happens? So once everything is finished, we receive a list of submissions. So usually it's about dozens and hundreds of submissions to the organization. And then the organization starts filtering these project ideas. So we just review them, filter out ideas which have no relevance, etc. And our main goal is to submit a number of project slots we would like to get. And the organization sends 2 numbers, minimum number of project slots we want to get and maximum number. So these 2 slots, these 2 numbers are submitted to Google, and then Google processes this application from the organization and then returns us the number of project slots we actually get. Just to be clear, we are guaranteed to get at least 1 project slot as an organization. But yeah, we are not guaranteed to get a minimum number of projects. But yeah, usually it happens that you get a number which is related, which is pretty good. And so yeah, this is what Google does. They return us the number of projects we can take, and then again the organization and the mentors work on these project proposals. So what we do, we create mentor teams. Our goal is to select students, select projects, and select at least 2 mentors in our organization, and to form this team. So, for example, we get 10 project slots. We need to create 10 such teams, and we do that, and then we have to do it by May 6th. So this is how the final selection happens. So it will be a collaboration on the Jenkins organization level and on the mentor team level. And that's how we will get to the final decision. So there are some maybe not expected pitfalls there. But yeah, depending on mentors' availability, depending on students' availability, yeah, projects maybe so. We try to find solution for good project proposals always. We look for additional mentors. So if you see a project here, projects. Yeah. So if you go here, you may see that there is different number of potential mentors in each project. So it means that these people are interested in this project idea. It doesn't guarantee that they will be your mentors finally. But as an organization, we will be looking for additional mentors if needed, and we will try to form these mentor teams. So for you, yeah, you can apply to any project. Sometimes when you see more mentors in the project, it could be a more sustainable call, but again, it's just a draft estimation. So for each project we have now, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to form mentor teams. So you can probably apply to anything. Okay, I hope it answers the question about project selection. So just to be clear, so yeah, project selection happens only once, and yeah, after that, community bonding starts. And if you have second thoughts, for example, about your availability, if you're selected for organization, there will be no way to cancel the application and to select another student after the announcement. So that's why when you apply and when you make a submission, yeah, think about your availability, because GSoC is a pretty big time commitment. And if there is any risk that it will collide with your study, for example, or if you plan to take internship during the summer. So internship in many cases is just a no-go for us, especially if you didn't explicitly communicate about it in your project application. So in the application, we ask you to list your commitments for the summer. So, for example, if you plan internship, it's better to mention it, because if you do not mention that and then we discover that, then you may be at risk, because, well, it's really difficult to combine these things, and mentors should be able to adjust to that. On the other hand, yeah, again, it's not a blocker. GSoC, yeah, if you need a week or two during GSoC, for example, for personal matters, it happened many times in Jenkins GSoC and other organizations, so it's not a blocker. But again, it's better to let mentors know about that in advance, so that they can plan accordingly, and that they can take it account in their own plans. Because yeah, mentors also have vacations during summer. So yeah, it's just a part of the GSoC, and it's a part of how we organize collaboration.
Okay, so yeah,
Do you want to ask a question? Because maybe your audio broke.
sir.
Did you want to ask a question? Okay. Sure. Any other questions about? Yeah, I believe something is going on with your audio, Nisar, because yeah, we don't hear you. If you have a question, could you please write it in the chat?
Like
By the way, is my audio okay now? Maybe it's an issue on my side.
No, I couldn't understand him too. There's
Okay.
a problem, yes.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. Yeah, be ready to network issues. Well, it happens every time in GSoC because yeah, it's a part of distributed work. Then yeah, we just need to be ready to that. And this is also why we recommend to use chats and mailing lists, because communications may be unstable, you may get into time zone issues. You may have noticed that many mentors are actually from United States, from Europe, and from Asian and Pacific region. So it means that, we will be 4 mentor teams and we will try to take time zones into account. But yeah, there is no guarantee that we will be able to form a team in the same time zone. Usually it's not how it happens. So yeah, be ready to distributed work and yeah, to all kinds of this communication problems. But yeah, it's how communities work. So it should be also a part of the experience. Okay. Are there any other questions? So there is a question in the chat. I'd like to ask whether it's polite to mention potential mentors on GitHub when I have questions, for it may disturb them. The advice here would be that if you use a project-specific chat, for example, if you have a chat specifically created for example, remoting projects or coverage API or machine learning, we have many project ideas which have dedicated chats. The advice is to avoid mentioning people directly unless you need a specific response, because whomever is interested, they will still read the chat. If you use a generic channel like GSoC, then mentioning mentors will be advised, because otherwise it may get missed in the communication. But yeah, what we can do, we can just sorry, I'll have to mute you, Sunny. There is another hand. If you use GSoC Gitter channel heavily, then better to mention mentors. And if it becomes uncomfortable to you or to mentors, we can create a separate chats. So we did it, for example, for Docker image polling project idea recently for machine learning. And for other projects, if there is high traffic, we will be just creating new GSoC, new Gitter channels right away.
Is there any page we can see the open glitter chat for projects?
No, there is no such centralized wiki page. Just a second, I can show you what you have now. And yeah, if you have a proposal how we could improve it, it's something we could do. Okay, so what we have now, we have a list of project ideas. So if you navigate to each project idea, you may see that there is a chart.
Oh, okay.
So for each project idea, on the right side, you can see mailing list, if relevant, Gitter, if relevant, and meetings. So for example, here it references to GSoC office hours because there is no dedicated meeting. But if you go to another project idea, for example, if we take configuration as code 1, configuration as code is a sub-project and they have their own Gitter channel. So for example, you may see that it links to the configuration as code plugin Gitter channel. The same for meetings. They have separate meetings. Okay, the link is broken. That's interesting. Projects, I'm not sure why. Maybe. Oh, yeah, projects was duplicated. So I'll fix the link, but what happens here that there is configuration as code subproject. So they have Gitter chat, they have meetings, and you can, if you're interested in configuration as code related project, you can just join this meeting in order to chat with stakeholders and discuss how to proceed. And on all contacts are here. So this is should be your entry contacts for each project idea. On the community level, we have some pages like, for example, Jenkins.io chat. But yeah, to be honest, this page needs some refactoring before it becomes really helpful. So you may see that it doesn't offer much information right now. So yeah, and it will be also expanding these pages because yeah, there is a huge work going on for Jenkins resources nowadays. And you may have seen in the developer mailing list that Jenkins project is about to move to continuous delivery foundation as a part of Linux Foundation. So most likely there will be some changes on Jenkins.io and channels after that. So yeah, but if you have any feedback how to better organize charts and mailing lists on the GSoC level, please let us know, because yeah, it will be a feedback which is valuable for us. And yeah, we still have for more than 1 month to adjust the framework according to your feedback.
Oleg, I would like to ask a question about development of Jenkins plugins. So like I have a bit of experience in Java, like some REST APIs and Node.js. So I want to work on this multi-branch support for GitLab. So is it sufficient if I go through the existing code base of other SCMs, or like should I before that should I learn some particular tech stack for that, or will going through the code base would be sufficient?
Going through code base could be fine. So if you're familiar with Maven, all projects we have here are currently Maven based. So in Jenkins project, we have some Gradle based plugins, but yeah, I believe that all plugins here are based on Maven because Maven is a default stack. So yeah, if you have IDE, you can just start the project, and yeah, it's a standard Maven project from the architecture standpoint. So you can study the code quickly. There are some documents, for example, introduction to plugin development. Okay. I keep forgetting that I moved to the new laptop. So yeah, you may see that there are some links here, and yeah, you can actually just Google for the links. But yeah, what would be the correct approach? There is a link linked from student guidelines. It's Jenkins.io participate. This link is actually a landing page for all newcomer contributors. And here you may see that there is a write code section, and here you can just find more experience about contribution, and there are also links to some guidelines, including plugin tutorial and other things. Again, yeah, this page is still work in progress after the migration, but yeah, if you miss particular documentation, we are able to help. But you can find all generic documentation here. For example, how to build the plugin, how to publish the plugin, and it should be the entry point for you if you look for documentation. Yeah, you may see that Confluence is pretty slow sometimes, but yeah, after it opens, you may see that, for example, this page provides a full guideline how to set up your environment in order to build the Jenkins. So you can just go through this page, and yeah, after that you will be able to build your project in Maven or in IDEs. So yeah, you can find all the documentation. Sometimes it takes time to find it, but yeah, no, it's a part of open source contribution. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah. So generally, we conduct these meetings till the last question or till the time runs out. if you have any questions about process, about the projects, just ask. And yeah, if no, yeah, we can probably close the meeting. And again, my advice would be to just start exploring project ideas, start building something, exploring the area, or just try out Jenkins, because you have 6 weeks till the, maybe 5 weeks till the application deadline, but at some point you may realize that it's only 5 weeks, because creating the project idea, you can do it in 15 minutes, you can spend 1 week or 2 weeks on that, and it may really impact the quality of the project idea. And as a part of GSoC, we don't want you to just forget about your study. So we know that everybody on this call has commitments outside GSoC, and we respect these commitments. And first advice for all of you would be that the study first. So GSoC is important, but GSoC is addition, I think, to your study. So if you have exams, if you have other things, again, we will try to organize GSoC schedule accordingly if your project's accepted, but during the application period, also take it into account. So it's better to start early so that the GSoC deadlines do not impact your other commitments. Okay. Shenyu, are you on the call now? Yeah, maybe you would like to share some. They will speak. So what we were thinking about is organizing a special session, maybe in a few weeks, with our former GSoC students, so that the students can share their own experience with you guys, and provide some information how it's organized, and what would be tips and tricks for those ones who participate in GSoC first time. So I guess on this call, we have several people who used to be GSoC students before, and now the GSoC mentors. Maybe we have a second year students as well on the call. And if you have any experience, please feel free to share that in community channels. It will be much appreciated. So any advice you can put, just drop it to the chat. Feel free to send a message to the mailing list. It's also part of contribution, and we will much appreciate that. Yeah, so we will get it organized. I'm not sure what would be the format, but be sure that this session will happen. We usually do this session as a part of community bonding, but maybe we will be able to do this early this time. Okay. So do we have any other questions left? Okay, if no, then see you in the GitHub chat. And thanks again for the interest in Google Summer of Code, and thanks for the interest in Jenkins project specifically. Jenkins is a really big organization. We have maybe 500 of active contributors nowadays. But since we have hundreds of different components, and you may have seen that there are thousands of plugins, having more contributors and having people who are interested in the project is really helpful to us. And GSoC is one of the ways, and that's why we appreciate all ideas coming from students, and all contributions coming from students as a part of the GSoC. So thanks again, and see you next week. Okay, bye.
Yeah, bye. Bye.
Bye.